With Black Metal Artist Promotion. Today we have Heljarmadr of Dark Funeral and Grot. How are you
Yeah,
today?
fine. It's a cloudy day. I have coffee and I've been working on some new Dark Funeral demos like up until 5 minutes ago, basically. I just had a quick lunch before this interview. So
Good.
yeah.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about a lot today, I think, because I was going to ask you during quarantine, what projects have you been able to work on and complete?
Well, I've been keeping myself quite busy. Of course, touring has been off, as everyone knows, for everyone in the world. So the main priority has been the new Dark Funeral album, and we've been working on that, me and Arma, for like a year now, I think.
Wow.
More even. I think we started like late 19 to actually get into the process of composing and writing. So we've been working on that, and now we're kind of seeing the end of the composition process. I think we might have a couple more songs that we may or may not include it on the album, but yeah, it's going well. Apart from that, the quarantine I've been trying to do all kinds of shit. I released a photo book. I've been doing mixing, mastering for other bands. New Gra album is on the rise. I released my solo single too with a video. As a split with my friend Eldur from Iceland. What else? Well, quite a lot, but yeah, I mean, you do what you can to keep occupied.
Well, on Instagram, I follow you. I see everything you post, and at one point, well, actually, a couple of times over the past year, I've seen that you were offering your services for mixing and recording and things like that. How did that go for you as far as bands contacting you and keeping you busy during the quarantine on top of what you're already doing?
Well, I've had a few jobs. I mixed and mastered an album for a Swedish band called Devil's Tale, to be released I don't know where, but it's official. So I'm only mentioning, of course, bands that made it official already. So I also mixed an album for a German band called Affinity. I think it's on the verge of being released or in like waiting for the vinyls or something like that. And I've been doing some music for movies, actually.
Really?
Emir Scalogna, my friend, he offered me to do the score for his film Veronica, which is like a psychological thriller. So that was quite interesting to do. It's out, the movie's out, so check it out, Veronica. You find the links in my bio on Instagram. I have
Okay.
this like link in bio page where, you know, you always put this link in bio shit, and then the next day you put something else and you have to change that motherfucker. So I have this website thing, so I just put everything there before I post, so you can find all shit there too, all the links.
You're going to have 20,000 people watching this, and they're gonna blow up. They're going to blow up that streaming service. That's going to be awesome. So I noticed a trend that was going on with social media, and you had bands, doing the quarantine videos is what they're calling them, where, person is in room A, somebody else is in another country or state, and they're collaborating. First, I want to say Into the Human Race was awesome. Great song. How hard was it to collaborate to do that video?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is that you are actually having a metronome track for the song, because we're obviously not playing it at the same time together because of latency and lagging, me being in Chile singing to Janne's drums in Sweden, that'd be like, yeah, there's a potential because everything is so fucking fast, so there's a potential for fuck ups. So what we did basically, and what we've been doing with all the Gra rehearsal videos that we've been doing also, is like, take your fucking phone, set it up, film yourself while you perform. And then we have been gathering the performances, put it together. That's the only way we have been able to do it. I mean, I'm in South America. The guys are in Sweden.
It turned out great. I've got a lot of your stuff playing behind me here, and it's going to show up. It'll be there shortly. So I was wondering, this is a question that was asked by my colleague Omar, and he wanted me to get specific with this. When you're writing music, how do you determine what you're going to write about? Do you hear the music first? Do you do the lyrics first? Or do you just, hey, this is how I feel, this is what I'm going to write? Because I know in your music there's, you know, because you talk a lot about, you know, Satanism and you know, God and everything else. So how do you come about forming a song, and is it a long process?
Well, it is a long process, and it's a very complicated process. I mean, it's not just like I'm not the kind of guy that just sits down, take up my guitar, write a song, and it's done. No. For Dark Funeral, I don't compose much music. It's Ariman who does that, and I do lyrics. Ingra, I do both, and for my solo things, I do both. I mean, actually, my solo track, Transcending into a God, is I started writing that in '98. So
yeah.
the first demo version of that song is from '98 on an old cassette. It didn't sound exactly the same. Of course, it's been developed, but things, you know, like accumulate in my head and in my hard drives, and I have all kinds of shit going on everywhere. And somehow things get connected. I mean, my phone is full of like text documents with like lyric ideas. You know, I might be watching the TV and see a fucking priest and go, someone should nail that motherfucker to the cross, you know? Nail them to the cross. I mean, yeah, that we're onto something. And I mean, I'm not saying that everything is random. The thing is that when you have enough material, you can start sitting down and see, is this getting somewhere? Do I have a thread in all this? Can I make a song out of this? 9 out of 10 times the answer is no. But then you have the occasional, fucking hell, this riff is fucking awesome. Wouldn't it be kind of, you know, it's, for me, it's like a huge fucking puzzle. So,
Okay.
and not to confuse myself now as I'm doing the lyrics for the new Dark Funeral album, I don't write any other lyrics for nothing else. I am accumulating, I have all my accumulated words that I have saved here, there, and everywhere. And I need to take what I can and channel it into this new Dark Funeral album for it to be, otherwise I will imitate my own lyrics. You know, if I write, you know, it will be like, I will be copying myself in a way. I need to finish this process before I can move on with the next process, and so on and so on. So of course, in the meantime, I have shit tons of songs. I mean, riffs that don't have words because I'm waiting with the words. Do you understand? I mean,
It's got to be right.
Yeah, it's a fucking mess. That's what it is. It's a fucking mess. And
Organized chaos.
somewhere from that mess, it's like you find this like thread that you start unfolding the shirt, you know.
I read an article from a musician. You've heard of the band the Murder Dolls, Wednesday 13? Okay. So they wrote a song, and I remember reading the article about a song called I Walk with a Zombie. And
Right.
he was actually watching TV, and there was nothing on, and he opened up the TV guide to see what was coming on, and there was a synopsis written about that movie.
Right.
And that sparked an entire song. So what you're saying, you know, it's for him, it was something that simple that gave him a complete idea, and the lyrics came like that. But with you, you really put some effort into that. I mean, because it has to be specific and right. So that's, you know, that's probably why everybody likes the music so much. I mean, I can't lie. Nail Them to the Cross, My Funeral, that one gets me. That's a great song. The riffs that you guys come up with, that Armin comes up with, they're just amazing. So yeah, this is good stuff. I want to ask you, besides, I know that you have, you know, your solo and your side projects, but as a band with Dark Funeral, is there any band or singer or maybe another musician that you all would like to do a collaboration with that you could possibly record? Not that it will happen, but, you know, if it's something you could do, who would it be?
That's a good question. No, we haven't been talking about those things. I mean, we're in the process of writing an album now, so I will not exclude the idea that we will bring in someone, but I don't. There is nothing in the pipeline with that. We haven't even like. This is a new thought, completely. We haven't touched it at all. I don't know. What would be good without? You know, sometimes collaborations are better on paper, you know?
I know, and some of them are surprisingly awful, and some are just unbelievably great.
Yes,
So
yes, exactly. So I don't want to make like weird guesses. No, I don't think. I mean, of course, it would be cool to do something with Bruce Dickinson or Rob Halford, you know?
oh hell yeah.
I mean, for example, but of course, but would it be good? Would it be cool for us? And I mean, Judas Priest fans would be like, "What the fuck is this? Fucking garbage," you know?
Yeah, I went to an
So
Iron
you know
Maiden
what I mean? It's
show.
very tricky.
You're right, because you got two different styles of music, and it probably would shock some people to have
Yeah.
have Rob Halford and then have you there. But to me, if I saw that, the voices, because his voice is up there, it's very high pitched, and then I hear you sing, and you're kind of right there too. So to me, something like that would be awesome. But it's
Yeah, I think, but then again, I mean, only if you like this, I don't know, the Beauty and the Beast concept of songs, you know? Not
right.
everybody's into that stuff. So, and would it be, I mean, to bring in, for example, a female singer or something like that with a very feminine singing style?
Right.
That has also been done, and that is not my cup of tea. I prefer to listen to, I mean, for me, my own personal preference is I rather listen to that woman in her own band. This Beauty and the Beast, this mixed up concept thing, I don't know. No, I don't know. It has never really appealed to me that much.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's one of those things that,
Mm.
I thought about when I was thinking all these questions. I thought, man, I wonder who they would collaborate with. So, yeah,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
said two
fucking hell.
bands that were just that are right
It's a
up there
good
with.
question. You got me thinking also, and I'm sending emails as we speak. You know?
So, about the internet and social media, how do you feel that they've impacted um, black metal in particular, or just even Dark Funeral? Has it been a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, social media in all is, I mean, it's a double-edged sword because you have all the information, but you also have all the misinformation, and everything, both good and bad things, can spread like a wildfire.
Oh yeah.
So of course, with a better reach, sure. And I mean, if I would like to rephrase this a bit, how imagine this pandemic shit without the internet.
Oh yeah, without the news entirely. What would it be? I mean, uh, I read about your frustrations during the pandemic, and especially during the lockdowns. And it's like, hell, you can't even go to the grocery store. And I was actually speaking to a friend the other day, and there's some places that, like where he works, uh, they said if you don't wear a mask, you know, you're going to be terminated. But if you have your vaccination card, and I looked at him and I said, sounds a lot like World War II. I said, before you know it, they're going to be putting barcodes on your arm. And I said, I don't think that's right. People have a right to live and do what they're going to do. I understand being safe, but for the most part, most of us are. And, and I get during the height of the pandemic, I understand why they did what they did.
Of course.
Necessarily didn't agree with all of it, but, it's like with Dark Funeral. You guys were separated right now because you're in Chile and they're in Sweden, but you all stayed working, and you were doing side projects for folks to get money. But what about all the folks that aren't? And
Exactly. So I mean, the internet. I mean, it's easy to discard it. It's easy to say, but I'm old school, and then you do like this, and you have a pizza coming to your door.
Right.
I mean, it's a bit hypocritical to blame the internet for, oh yes, it ruined the underground. But the thing is that what is underground today? Is it a video that gets like 2,000 views instead of 5 million? Is that underground? I mean, the world has changed, and the thing is that some of us are just too old to understand it. So I mean, in regards of being able to compose an album now, imagine me recording on my little portable studio, sending a cassette from Chile to Sweden. Maybe 2 months later he get it, and then another 2 months later I get a response.
Wow. Yeah, it's almost like using carrier pigeon, isn't it?
Yeah. I might as well just take a boat,
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, for that matter, I think the internet has brought us shit tons of more music. I mean, more good music too, not just quantity, but also a shit ton of more quality. And it's easier to do collaborations, as you mentioned before. I mean, I can mix a band from Germany or Sweden. They send me files. I mean, technology is not bad. Now, for my
Right.
solo thing, I had people doing the choir from Iceland, from Sweden, from United States. I think. I mean, from all over. They just record and send me. So you can have this like huge diversity. And a guy from the States, he recorded the cello parts.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I would say in the end, with all said, yeah, internet is awesome.
Good. So when you're touring, and I know it seems like every band you talk to they're ready to tour again, and I mean that goes without saying. One, it brings money, through merchandise, through album sales, and everything else. But aside from that, it seems like 99% of the people I speak with are, man, I just want to get out and tour. It's fun being with the fans, and I just want to play my music. That's why you do it in the first place. Mm-hmm. So, one, are you looking forward to getting back on the road again? And two, before your shows, and sometimes people do the craziest things, but are there like any pre-show rituals that you do? Like, I mean, not like vocal warm-ups, but like, do you have to have a certain food? Do you have to have a certain drink? Do you have to wear special socks? Anything like that to make sure that this performance has to go without a hitch? I got to do this.
No, to answer your first question, fuck yeah. I mean, fuck yeah, of course. And it's kind of we're kind of lucky in a way. We didn't have to cancel many tours. We have postponed festivals, yes. We have postponed a lot of shows in the end, but we haven't had to postpone, like, I think it was it Mayhem and Abbath and Borknagar and all those guys had like US tours coming up. Rotten Christ, I think also. So they had everything like rented, all the merch printed. I mean, fucking disaster.
Oh yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah. So I really felt for all those bands. So we were lucky in that aspect because we were already in the process of getting into composing the new album mode with these shows here and there scattered.
So the timing was good. Kind of.
For us, it was very lucky. We got really lucky with that, I would say. So now we have a new album out, hopefully for next year. So touring will be natural for us to do in that aspect. And to answer your second question, no, we don't really have that. It's like, let's say 2 hours before the show, discussions become less and less backstage in the backstage area, and everyone is like getting into their own
focusing
or introvert, and we just do our makeup, and somebody maybe cracks a joke sometimes, but it's like you can feel the atmosphere in the room is like changing.
So how did you said makeup? So how did you? Because all of you have your distinct look. So how did you come up with that yourself? Was it just something that you saw somebody and modified, or was it something that just came to you as an image that you wanted to do?
Well, I mean, Dark Funeral is an old band, so and way before I was a part of it, they've been doing this thing since like mid-90s. And I guess it was something that came in that time. People started doing that, inspired by the predecessors, of course, like Alice Cooper, Kiss, whatnot. But of course, I think also it's not nice to just copy someone else's makeup style. If feels absurd to even talk about those things like this. But yeah, I mean. When I joined Dark Funeral, I had previously with Grau, we used this only complete white makeup, no black at all, just like this complete white, like super corpse like, if you will.
Yes. Yeah, death like.
And then when I joined Dark Funeral, I realized that I will need to find something new, a new approach to this. So I kind of looked at Black Moon for inspiration for my makeup, because he was like one of the co-founding members, a musician that I've been like lifting my hat off since the mid-90s myself. So I didn't take his paint, but I was inspired by that. I mean, I've been minimalistic. That was the only thing I was like deliberately thinking about when I made my stuff. I want as little as possible, but the things that I have, I want to be inspired by Black Moon and I mean Dead from Mayhem and also Alice Cooper, you know, to take the tradition without having this super intricate. Because also, I mean, to be realistic, sometimes you have like 5 minutes when you get to a place to get ready, and then it's up on the stage, you know.
Nice. So you did an interview a couple of months ago, and you actually just reposted it, and I read it for like the 5th time. And one of the things you talked about was having to do a show with no one around, only a couple of people operating lights and whatever. And you said it really wasn't something you like to do, but if it was necessary, you would, more or less. If this was something you had to do, how do you propose a fix that would make it a better experience for the bands and the viewers that do this, you know, that will watch you online?
Well, this band versus audience interaction, I think it's irreplaceable. It's completely, because when you do a show in front of a camera, it doesn't feel real, you know.
Okay.
In the same way, it's a really weird feeling because you are used to this interaction. I mean, I assume everyone will get used to it. I've seen like Enslaved did a bunch of them, and they seem to enjoy it, and they're good. So of course it can be done well. I saw the Emperor one recently also. I mean, but they had some people there. I could hear like applause in between, so at least they had some kind of audience interaction. But I don't know. And what I think when I watch those things are also that they need to be very, very, very visual.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just stand up and down and perform your songs, because the albums sound better, or the music videos that you already have for the songs, they sound better. So it needs to have like a more visual element, I think, for it to be valuable, you know.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
you for a live show would have fire, for example, you should definitely have fire in this streaming thing. For example, I think Behemoth did something like that with a lot of in this environment, and that is adding some value to it. I think that is making something unique out of the situation, instead of just, I don't know, it must suck to be a soccer player or a rugby player playing with like empty, you don't have your
empty
audience.
stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. So it has to kind of feel like a rehearsal more than a performance.
Yeah. I mean, for the fans, I can tell you, I just watched a concert last Saturday, and I was so excited because I'm thinking finally, you know, it's going to be a concert, and I'm watching it, and I loved everything that the band did. But the bad part was there's not that connection, like you said, because when you're there, you're live, your adrenaline's pumping, and I'm sure it is for the band members on stage too. So
Yeah,
there's definitely an element missing when you have to watch it online. So it does kind of suck, you know, in that aspect. But you know, we will get our concerts back, and that's what's important. On that note about doing concerts, I know here in America, one thing that has happened is that a lot of venues have completely closed. And I don't know if they're ever going to reopen. They're actually doing, and I know they're doing this globally, called Save the Stages, and I'm assuming that it's helping a lot of them out. So I am hoping that we get Dark Funeral back here soon to help pump this stuff up. I want to go back to something that you talked about a little bit ago, your book. I got that book last year during the pandemic, and those photographs are top notch. I mean, they are fantastic. How long have you been photographing?
Well, actually, I took most photos in that book with my cell phone.
Seriously?
Yeah. And I have been taking pictures for as long as I can remember, but I've never invested in an expensive camera or like proper equipment. The fine thing about my phone is it takes raw pictures, so I have a lot of editing possibilities with them.
Oh. I guess you're right on that because it's right there. Your editing software is already in your device. You don't have to get anything extra.
No, actually, I haven't been editing in my phone, but I have taken the pictures in my phone, and I have been doing editing in Photoshop, of course.
There you go. Okay, you got that too.
Yeah.
All right. So, did the book sales go really well?
Yeah, I made 200 copies, and they sold. So
wow,
that's cool. One. So yeah, actually, I am thinking about making a second edition of it, with the distinct in print second edition, of course, because this book was kind of a lifesaver for me financially during this last year. So thanks to everyone who bought it. I mean, I've been eating.
Yeah,
sometimes because of that book. Great. So it's fantastic. So I am gonna make a second edition with clear indication that it is a second edition, and it will not be numbered either, or
So when you take the photos, is it just, oh, hey, that looks cool, I'll take a picture, or is it just something that's almost like an artistic thing that just clicks that I need to do this, and then you take the photo? Because there is a difference. I mean, you can just go out with a camera and take pictures of all kinds of shit, or you can go out and be like, oh, wow, to you, this is the one thing that's beautiful, and something about that stands out, and you take that photo. I mean, how does it work for you when you take that photo?
It depends. Usually I see something in something. Maybe it's texture. Sometimes I take texture photos. I mean, I see a nice wall. That's a nice piece of wood. I want to have it because in my head it might end up behind lyrics in a booklet.
Oh, okay.
For example, here in Santiago we have this like fruit and veggie market, and I love the ceiling. It's like this really old, it's dirty as fuck, and it's like detailed as a motherfucker. So every time I go there, I take a couple of pictures. I don't know, I just do it because somehow I think they will be better and better every time, which they will not. But no, I try to plan my pictures a bit, and more with time, of course, because if you don't take that maybe 1 or 2 minutes to get the photo that you want, you will regret it afterwards, because then you come home and you want to check it and it's not top notch. So like I have been thinking about investing in a camera, but the thing is that I will not bring it. It's going to be one of those bulky items that I just leave in the hotel,
Understood.
And the phone you always have, and I mean, this is a China phone with like a gazillion megapixels, and it takes raw photos. I mean, it's like it worked for the purpose. So and I don't have any aspirations to take the crispest photos to make like a full-size wall or anything like that. I bring this when I go out in the forest. I bring it every time I go to. You always have it with you.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
That's something I would recommend people to always have the highest resolution when you take photos. Because I mean the phones are actually quite good these days. If you take some time, make sure you keep them steady.
And I mean you're right, because it beats having like a 4-pound camera hanging around your neck.
Yeah, and with different lenses and shit,
Exactly.
I couldn't be bothered with that.
So I wanted to ask you about singing in particular. You are instantly recognizable the second you start singing. There isn't anybody who listens to black metal that the second you start singing, they're like, Dark Funeral.
All right.
They know exactly who you are. So you obviously have these very strong vocal capabilities to sing the way that you do. What kind of preparation do you have to go through to get ready to record or do a live show?
Well, with that said, it's been more than a year since I did a live show, and it's been a long time since I had a proper rehearsal, like singing more than, because when I'm doing like demo vocals now, I have something in my head. I record it 3 or 4 times, and then my voice starts to sound as I want it to. So this is an apartment, so I can't really be screaming all day for obvious reasons. And with the lockdown and stuff, all the neighbors are home at all times, So yeah, but warming up is very important, and it takes some time. I mean, if I go on stage completely blank, I would say my voice wakes up with the second or third song. Before that is it may sound all right, but it's it's an effort. It's painful.
So when did you discover that you could actually sing like that?
Well, back in the mid-90s, I lived in the far north of Sweden, like fuck far, above the Arctic Circle and everything. Actually, I come from like hillbilly country up there.
Holy shit.
So we didn't have too many guys to pick and choose from, you know. Oh, you like metal? Oh, awesome. Let's make a band, you know. So I was playing guitar and bass, and my cousin was like a drummer, and sometimes he was occupied with something else. So the other guy who also played guitar, he played guitar, and I played some drums, you know. So we got this like whoever can do the job does it, you know. And nobody could really sing as good as I could. So it became natural. Okay, you do the screaming part, and I'll stick with my drums and shit like that. So it's kind of went from there. It's something that I've always been doing. Like when there's something missing, I fill the spot, you know.
Gotcha.
So that's how it went.
When I've seen this happen a couple of times at shows, and I got to ask, I've not seen you live. I had tickets to see you live, and I can't remember why I missed the show. I don't know if I was ill or what the case was, but have you ever lost your voice due to singing a live show? Like you get out there and you start singing, and all of a sudden you can only sing little parts of the song because your voice won't hit what you need it to hit?
Well, I have been touring with flu.
Oh.
And that happens, I mean, usually mid-tour. It's like too many people you've been handshaking with, you know, now with this COVID protocols and shit, maybe things would be better, but we call it like the tour bus flu, you know, because everyone is breathing the same air in a bus. So of course, one catches something, it goes around.
Gotcha.
And it's, I mean, I would say it's us singers and the drummers that are mostly affected, because we're the ones using the lungs, the respiratory system the most to perform. So yeah, I mean, I think we were going to Argentina or something like that. I think we had like this crazy schedule where you play the show until midnight, then you go and sleep until 4 in the morning, then you go to the airport and you fly, and then you do the show again at midnight without any sleep in between. And to catch a flu with that shit, it wasn't fun.
No, so, I bet not.
What I did, the first thing I did when I came to a new city was to find a pharmacy. What is the strongest cough medicine that you have? Oh, this one. Okay, awesome. Without having to have a subscription, of course, like a recipe.
Yeah.
So instead of having a water bottle on the stage, I had this cough medicine, you know. So between songs, it's like, oh
wow. I was going to ask you how you did that. You know, how do you take care of it when you're on stage? But holy shit, really, cough medicine? Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, what is the option? I mean, the option would have been to cancel a lot of shows. That's not an option.
No. I guess you are right. So I got one last question for you. And what do you have planned for the rest of 21 and into 22? And also, will that include Gra?
Yes, we have planned to enter the studio with Dark Funeral to record the album this year. That is for sure. And what else we will have time to do with Dark Funeral, I don't know, but the album is priority there. With Gra, I have also the same plan, at least to have time to record the drums this year, to get it started with. And we have hopefully still a show in October, early October in Sweden, that we will do. And also a show is going to happen in Stockholm, so it seems also this autumn, like in September or so. I don't remember the exact date. So yeah, we have like the basic outline of the new Gra album also.
Awesome.
So it's like preparing for that and record that. And apart from that, I'm doing a solo album too.
You really are busy.
Yeah, but the solo album is like the lowest in the ranking right now. So if I have the time when I am in Sweden later this year, and if the drummer is ready and everyone is ready, we will start recording that album too. But we will see about that. The priority is the Dark Funeral album and then the Gra album. Those are the things that I'm sure will be recorded this year.
Awesome. Well, hey, I want to thank you for your time today, and I appreciate you talking to me. I'm really excited to see what you put out. That I'm definitely waiting for the new Dark Funeral album. So, on that note, when would that be expected to be released? Next year, in 22?
Well, if we've managed to record this year, I would expect next year. I mean, the ratio between finished product and actually released, record labels have this like schedules and shit, and you have to fit into that. So we don't know, and even if we tried to know, we couldn't guess. It's impossible to guess. But it's not gonna be purposefully delayed. At least that's for sure. We will record when we are ready, and it will be released in due time after that when when it's ready to be released.
All right. Well, thank you again for your time today, and I appreciate you talking to me. And you stay safe in Chile.